What's up, Inkie peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and today, don't worry, the whole video isn't this supersonic fast. I have just sped up the first bit because I'm doing a whole lot of swatching. Today I'm working in my colour journal, which is my secret favourite journal to work in. I think it's a combination of things in colour order, because I do quite like things in colour order, but also the paper of this journal is beautiful. It's a Jane Davenport journal, and the paper is very crisp white, very different to the Dilutions paper, which has a bit of a creamy undertone. And I've realised since working in the Dina Wakley media journal that I really like to work on very white pages, so that's why I like this journal a lot. So I'm going through, I'm up to, last time I showed you this, I think I did, was it the red page? I'm pretty sure, I think. And now I'm up to blue. I've done red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. And first of all, I went through and I grabbed all of my blue paints and pencils and pens that I could think of. I had an accident there by putting way too much Posca paint pen there, as you can see, but I didn't quite realize how many blue things I had. I had a lot more than I thought I did, and so I actually needed to do 2 pages of swatches, which is why I've sped this up quite a lot. I'm using my Uniball Signo Broad, the white gel pen on the dark watercolor, and then just my Pilot G2 pen for the rest of all of the bits and pieces. I think that this is a project that has kind of sparked my interest in trying art journaling in a different way, in a more of a real artist paint swatches and little sketches kind of way, instead of finished art journaling pages, which I will still do. But I think after I've finished this journal, as kind of a bribe to myself to finish this journal first, I'm going to buy another one and kind of do a different journaling style. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll finish this journal sometime this year and then can start the other one. But I know that if I don't finish this one first, then it will never get done before buying another one. So I'm going through my watercolors now, and I love, love, love painty brush strokes. If you haven't noticed in last month's printables, I really, really love painty brush strokes. And even I just realized the thumbnails of all of my videos, I just really like the look of them. On this page, I'm going through my Prisma pencils, colored pencils, and I think I picked all of the blues. I still feel like I'm missing some of my Prisma colors. I feel like there's not many kind of middle blues, I guess you could say. There's that really bright, what is it called, electric blue, and that's it. I feel like there's some more that may have gone missing somewhere. So after I finished all of my swatches, I grabbed some magazine cutouts. I went through where I keep all of my magazine images and just kind of picked out anything that looked bluish. I also did a flip through. I had a Frankie magazine near my desk, so I just had a quick flick of that too. But ideally, I need to do another big magazine chop session for my En Masse journal, which I really want to finish soon. And I need to, ideally I would have gone through and picked a whole lot of blue images from the magazines first before starting this page, but I was really, I saw this journal where I store it under my desk, and it kind of sparked me to pick it up and have a go at it without any prep work. So I have that picture of, I think it's like a little cabin on with the mountains, and I thought that was a really good way to start. I think it was green, possibly, yes, green, which you haven't seen yet. You'll see, I'll do a flip through when I finished it all. But green started with a really big image, and I loved the way that was kind of a break between the paint swatchy pages and then the texty written pages. So something I definitely want to try and do on future pages as well. So this project, it's been really, really fun. I think I told the story in my introduction to this journal. Maybe I didn't, but as a child, I was a giant nerd, and I would, oh, this sounds so nerdy saying it, but I would write my own textbooks. I was just destined, I think, to be a teacher. So this is when I was probably about 9 or 8, 9, 10. Yeah, about then. I had this Osborne grammar book, and it went all through nouns and verbs and adverbial phrases and punctuation, and it was one of my favorite books, along with my hand lettering book that I've talked about before. I'm going to try and see if they're still at my parents' house. They should be there somewhere hidden somewhere, I hope. But I had this book, and so what I would do is I would go through and pick my favorite pages, and with my giant notebook collection that I seem to accumulate quite young, I would simply copy out my favorite passages from textbooks. As nerdy as that seems, that was my idea of an amazingly fun activity. Is there anyone else out there who did anything like that, or am I just a bit of a weirdo? So this is like the grown-up version of my childhood dreams, and I wish that I had access to, back then I didn't even have a computer, but I wish that I had access to things like Instagram and YouTube, and I wish that I could have seen other examples of people journaling back then, because I think that I think that I have been a journaler deep down for a long time. I just haven't known it or been consistent in actually finishing a journal until the age of like 28. But actually, no. When did probably 27, I finished my first journal, 28, something like that. So I'm just going through and writing some quotes from that colour book. I think it's the Collins colour book. The title would have been when I flipped through it, and it is definitely in the first video for this. I always put the tag colour journal, I'm pretty sure, with the other video, and I'll put it with this video too, so it's easy to find. That's another thing. If you're ever looking for particular videos on the Patreon Inkie homepage, there's a section on the left that says featured tags, and I picked the most used tags and put them up there. But then I think you can click a button to see all tags, and if you just click art journaling or scrapbooking or color journal, there's heaps of different topics, and if you click that, it will show all of the videos or posts that contain that content. So that's a quick way. I might actually film a video showing how to do that, just to make it easier for you guys if you're looking for something in particular that's from many months or years ago. So this next page, I had this little blue sailor man peeking out from a little blue windowsill, and I just loved the way it looked. It was I think I'd just torn it out of Frankie magazine, and I really loved the torn edge, so I decided to keep it. It was a little bit narrower than the actual page width, and so I just, rather than try to find something to squeeze in that tiny section between the picture and the spine, I decided to just overlap my writing across the page, and I love the way that turns out. It's so simple and just a small little detail, but I really think it makes the page look a little more casually thrown together, like everything just belongs there and merges into one. If there's a more succinct word to express that feeling, let me know. So I'm just writing down, and I never plan what writing's going to go where until I'm actually up to the writing section, just because, as I've said before in like hand lettering videos, if I plan it, I 100% of the time don't do it the way that I planned it, and that in turn makes me more frustrated and worried to get it perfect. And I feel like if I don't plan it, then it's easier for me to be happy with the end product. Everyone works differently, and you might find that you work really well with pre-planning, or even penciling everything in before going in with pen or marker or something like that. But I know in myself I get too frustrated with the end result. So I'm just adding a little bit up the top here, and I was using my Tombow brush markers for the titles, and I've been going through, as you've seen with my journal with me videos on Let's Get Inky, I've been doing a lot of brush lettering with the black outline around the outside of the letters, and I find that just helps the letters pop. I do that off camera though, so you don't have to watch me do all of that outlining. But I'm really loving the look of the black outline at the moment, and I feel like my brush lettering there, especially that early blues, it looks a little bit naked without it, and for me, I need to finish it off. It's like the doodly border. A lot of things I feel look a bit bare until they get that final outline or border on them. So I'm just adding it down here, and you can see I'm changing up my typography a little bit. So I find that if I change my typography up, then it makes it a little bit more interesting and makes the different sections look more like sections rather than getting confused about where one part starts and one part ends. So in this little section, I'm just doing it in capitals. It's a little bit wonky, it's a little bit rushed, but it looks different than the cursive that's next to it, and I like the juxtaposition of that. So then I quickly realized that I still had a lot more information about blue that I wanted to write. So I do a third page, as you'll see in a moment. I had these Jane Davenport rub-ons on my desk, and I decided why not use the blue ones on the blue page. So I'm just popping those on. They are beautiful rub-ons. They rub on really, really nicely. I'm going to have to try and track down another pack, I think, because they've lasted quite a while, but I'm left with, I think it's brown, yellow, and maybe some pink. There might be some pink or red in there, but I have used a lot of my favorite ones already. So then I find that little diddly lines help also block out some of the text as well, and it just, rather than draw the whole box, I can just kind of use the photos to help with dividing the different sections up, and I love the look of that. And that's why in this next, I'm going to call it an artist's sketchbook because it sounds posh, and it will differentiate from my art journaling journal. I might call it my sketchbook instead of my journal. And in the next artist sketchbook that I get, I really want to do more writing and just make it a little bit more free and white space and white backgrounds with just text or pictures that I like or inspiration on top. So then as I'm finishing up this page, I was also looking for what I wanted to do on the next page, and I decided to go with some washi. So I've got all my washi stuck down, and as you saw, I glued those down glue them down with the glue stick, just because I'm very wary of washi. I'm very wary of its longevity to stay stuck, especially here in Oz. The temperature, the heat just seems to play with my adhesives a lot, and a lot of my washi tapes, actually I think I need to do a bit of a de-stash, because I went to use a couple of them and they just died. They had stuck to themselves and it was just a sticky, ripped mess. And so I did actually chuck out a couple of rolls when I was doing this page, but I think I need to go through my whole collection, which I'm not looking forward to. Let me know in the comments actually, how many rolls of washi tape do you estimate that you have? Is it something you've never touched and you might have like 0 or 1 rolls? Do you have a usable stash of about 15? Or do you have an excess stash like I do? I reckon I would easily have at least 60 rolls of washi tape, I'm guessing. So I've got this little I've got 4 little containers, and each of them, actually be more than that. Oh, it'd be more than that, probably 70 or 80. because I have 4 little trays in my craft room and they probably hold 12 to 15 each. And then I also have a giant tub. Oh, yeah. Someone needs to go through their washi stash, and that someone is me. I was, with this left-hand side of the page, I didn't exactly know if I needed to do some writing between the girls or around the outside of them. But in honor of my new embracing white space goal, I am embracing the gap and just letting it be and just leaving it. And I think that it makes it pleasing on the eye because this right hand side of the page is quite busy and full, and left hand side kind of gives you a bit of a breather. Well, that's what I'm pretending anyway. It just lets you relax a little bit. So I'm just finishing off this last part, and I knew I was running out of room. Luckily I had 1 roll of washi tape space left, and so I could fit in all of my writing down the bottom there, but I managed to squeeze it in. This journal is actually filling up slower than I thought. I have a lot of pages left, and I think I only have purple, black, brown, and I might even do a pink as well. We'll see how we go. But I need to put some other things in there, so if you've got any ideas, let me know. Anywho peeps, thank you so much for watching and joining me for this video. I had lots of fun doing it, and I hope you enjoyed a peek into a different type of art journaling, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!